The Own Your Intuitive podcast is for the creatives, spiritual entrepreneurs, and light workers in the world. The shining ones who have been told to dim their light and stop believing in magic. I say screw that. The time to rise is now. To bring your gifts out into the world in a big way, creating a business that feeds your soul and your bank account. You are a magical being with the potential to change the world, one human at a time. The time for you to own your intuitive is now. Hey everybody, you are never gonna believe this. I have had a guest that is now on their third time being on the Own Your Intuitive podcast. Man, I must really love this guest because they keep showing up. On a side note, it was a special request by this said guest that they be on this particular episode in truth, because today is the 69th episode of the Own Your Intuitive podcast, and my guest is my husband, Jeffrey Arnold, who really wanted to be on the 69th show. Can you tell the listeners why?
I don't know. If they don't know, then I don't think that I should be explaining the birds and the bees to them by now. If they don't know already, then their parents should have done that for them.
Yes. Really. Jeff is like a child in an adult man's body, and he was like, I want to be in the 69th episode. And I was like, okay, let us make it so.
Yep. And I did have to remind you that episode number was coming up. Right.
So I really am kind of excited to just share a little something with the listeners and viewers, if you're on YouTube, of, you know, even though this is your third time and even though you're my husband, how did you feel about recording today's episode?
Super nervous, and actually wanted to run away and not do it, even though I said that I wanted to earlier. So, ta-da! Yeah. I showed up anyway, though.
You did, and this is our first non-side-by-side recording, and I feel like you're talking more. This is wonderful.
Well, this is the first time we've done it since we started doing the YouTube stuff, right? So the ones before were all just audio only. Now we've like gone into like the 20th century. So very 1980s.
So just to give a little backstory about the other two episodes that we have recorded together for anyone who hasn't listened to them, it all began by us doing an episode that was called Marriage and Mental Health. And in that, we had talked about the dark days that you and I had both gone through, right? And then the second episode was an update of where we were, and we were selling our house and talking about money and debt.
Yes, we were. And I'm like, look, it's pouring rain now, and like the gutters are overflowing. So I'm like super distracted. Yes, we did. And we're kind of not there anymore. Now we're looking at moving again after we moved into this place. So.
Well, I think it's a really powerful, because where marriage is concerned, it is not a linear road by any means. It is crooked. There are hills, there are valleys, there are so many things that nobody prepares us for. It's like having children. Nobody tells you how you're a parent, going to be a parent, right? Like they're like, here's a kid, and you're like, what is this, right?
They basically teach you like how to push the baby out and, you know, how to change a diaper. And after that, well, you're on your own.
Right. And so marriage is kind of like that to me, right? It's like everything leading up to the marriage is like, oh, you're in love and you're wooing and this is great. And then it's like, now you're married. And it's like, oh.
Have at it.
Have at it. Yeah. Great. So amazing. And then you learn that you have committed to living with somebody through the good and the bad and the highs and the lows forever. You don't have to. You like,
because
Jeff is divorced once.
Yep.
So like, but when, for us, we invested in this in a different way. We're older when we got married. Like currently I'm still 100% committed to making this marriage work.
Well, that's good.
And I would
I
assume
am.
you are too.
Yes.
So today I kind of want to talk about a few things.
Okay.
So,
What was that? You get blacked out.
from your perspective,
Okay.
because I don't really shift that much. I'm entrepreneur and author Tamara, ready to send her message out into the world and, impact as many people as I possibly can.
Right.
And along that route, right, you're the one who's shifting and changing the most right now.
It's true. I've come into your business and out of your business twice, and now I'm back in again with a more defined role other than help me.
So this is a new thing that maybe when we do our 4th episode, we can talk about what it's like to work together.
Right.
Because this is only like a 3-week-old nurturing little baby that we have come in. Can you describe why it didn't work from your perspective in the beginning and why it's working potentially now?
I think in the beginning, there was no line between boss Tamara and wife Tamara, where all really you wanted to talk about was boss Tamara stuff. That's what it felt like to me. It may not have been the case, but that's what it felt like. So in a sense, I kind of felt like I lost my wife because it was only this side. And then when I got frustrated, you got frustrated. And I got
I
really
still do. That's different.
I'm not frustrated at you. I was frustrated at the thing that I'm trying to put together. That I don't know, that your webinar stuff.
So what do you think is going to make this time different?
I think that so far I've had defined jobs to do. There's a couple other things that are different as well. You're not, I mean, you tell me anyway when something good happens, like late at night or whatever, but you've really not asked me to do stuff at night. Like there's like a shut off time. That, and I mean, you're still doing things. You're like, hey, how about this? And how about this? But it's not my thing to do anyway. So I don't feel connected to it. I don't feel that's just, hey, my wife came home, and now it feels like my wife's home from work. She's telling me what she did at work today. Cool. And also I am trying to take the vision that it's not your business, that you are the figurehead, clearly, but I'm helping in a different way, and that's what it feels like.
So to piggyback on that, because we had a talk on the weekend that you said was really powerful about that exact statement, that level of awareness that it is our business. And can you share what the revelation was then?
Line. I have no idea what I said.
We were talking about, that, so Jeff's coming into the business, which he didn't tell you, as like the COO, the chief operating. We got to get a fun name for this, but he's in charge of all funneling and automation and all that. So everything that triggers on the back end, which is going to be super fun and messy for the first few months as we get this up and running, because it's failing forward, friends. It is never done perfectly the first time. So we create it and then we refine it. That's the way that
run is not going to go perfect.
No, and that's cool, but that's where you gather the data to put it back out in another exceptional way. And so, we were having a talk outside, and I mentioned that, what Jeff is doing is a direct correlation to the revenue coming into the business. So we talked because of the podcast interview with Karine that's coming up, and the difference between income and revenue. And we had talked about how your part in bringing the amazing souls towards me that I'll be able to support and love and care for through their process, that level of connection that you are creating between me and them really amplifies the amount of revenue that the business can make.
Oh, that conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, where before I felt like I was basically working for free or volunteering and not getting paid. Where I know that I'm adding value to what you do now. So whatever you bring in is, hey, I had a hand in that.
Yeah, like we could say maybe 6 months from now, after we've got some systems in place, that we can look at each other and say, we did this, right? Because I wouldn't have been able to serve that many people without that many opportunities for them to find me to come in.
Right.
And that would have been created by you. He's
Yes.
smiling for those.
I know. I
listening.
forgot that we're doing. I keep thinking that it's only video, so I'm making faces, but it's not. So I have to like do both.
Insert smile here.
Yeah. I am smiling.
And so like I think that that's a really powerful shift, especially from that level, like because both the previous episodes we've talked about money and the lack mentality and how that feels like it's a dark hole and we can't get out of it, and how that affected our marriage and our life and our quality of life. And here is the first time you're hearing live as the listener that there's a shift in the perspective by both of us of what this looks like.
Yes, quite true.
Right. And so we see the revenue coming into the business as a unified, like we, as opposed to an I.
Right.
And it feels lovely.
It does. Smile and nod. Smile and nod.
I know. First, like it's like you have a delayed voice. You're like totally responding by non-verbal and then verbalizing. So going back just to, again, we're just kind of keeping everybody in the fold. How do you feel energetically, mentally, spirit, like all the things as the year has passed?
It's been a year since we did one? No,
I started it in November, but I mean since this year started, since 2000.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because you started therapy in November or December of last year. So this is only like a 10-month experience so far.
Yeah, what a kind of like roller coaster of down and up and some down and ups again. Right now I feel great. Like I'm not looking forward to actually physically moving the furniture from here, but the whole concept of that is I understand, like we needed to move and we needed to move again. But everything else, like it's like I understand that yes, I was super frustrated at the stuff yesterday when we were talking, but it wasn't frustrated at you. And it was just kind of like, why isn't this working? Why isn't this easy? It's not. And it's okay. And it wasn't bad. So I generally feel good. But there's always, there's ups and downs every day for as a normal human.
Well, I mean, you struggled with a lot of sadness for a really long time.
Yeah. And it was sad, and I didn't feel like I had a defined goal to go towards as well. It was just kind of like doing things that kind of made me feel good at the moment.
For those who don't know our story though, like you were I just want to show the reflection of how amazing you are now. but there was a year and a half that Jeff was really super low. And then I had previously been in a super low state myself for probably about 6 months to 8 months. And so we cycled through depression. I went first, and then I came out, and then Jeff went in. And it was really like when I said nobody gives you the this is how your marriage is going to look card, or like this is what you do under extreme situations cards, or like, you know, the how to step by step to make this work kind of thing. Like to get to a level where you can actually hear us talking about building a business and having a future and seeing, you know, where we will potentially be a year from now is something I personally never thought we would get to. I was
This conversation wouldn't have happened. Not even close.
no, right? And so I want to let listeners know that, because I think it's an important conversation. Jeff, and I've said this in recent posts, when I was really going through my depression and things were really heightened with my son, there were times when Jeff had thought about leaving you guys. Like he had the thought, okay, this is a lot. Maybe I didn't sign up for this level of marriage, right? And the things that come along with Tamara. And he thought about it. It didn't mean that it happened, but he thought about it. And by the end of 2018, when you had shown no, not like absolutely zero intention of trying to make yourself feel better at that point.
Right.
That was a level in which I had thought about it. Right. And, you know, neither one of us took action on that. But to say that marriage doesn't have like the thought of breaking up isn't fair. And I want to have that conversation because I think it's important if you are having it, because, you know, I should say Jeff is forced to have a wife that wants to talk about their feelings all the time and like work on things and change our vibration and our emotional frequencies and all of the things.
Yes, it's constant.
Sometimes I sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true, you do.
Although sometimes. I woke up and I haven't told you this, that there's a message from somebody in my inbox that said I went to her while she was sleeping and I showed her the exact 4 things that she needed to work on. And that she woke up with clarity on what needed to be done. So when I'm sleeping, I'm just moving around in other dimensions and helping other people.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think it ever really turns off.
Should I be worried about where you're going when you're sleeping? Or?
No, I'm just still coaching. I coach 24/7, 7 days a week. I can't help myself. Captain Positive Pants.
Right.
It's for real. But I wanted to lead this in because 2019 has been a different kind of year for us.
Yes, it has.
I want to hear your version of 2019. Synopsis it.
A synopsis? Wow. I think that a super important step for both of us was to stop drinking. Because of how we felt and how dependent on it we were. It was like we would go as a point here, we would go anywhere, like visiting friends. We would drive to some, away. We're like, ooh, let's go to that pub. Ooh, let's go to that pub. Ooh, let's go to that pub. Like that was our tourist. And that really changed. And it's actually been it took a long time to get used to it because we didn't know how to have fun without it. And that's finally, not finally starting, but I mean, it seems to be,
The new normal.
yeah, that's a good way to put it. Um, and and I was really struggling with the finances in the start of the year because I felt like we were so far buried that I couldn't see a way out. And you tried. You really like gave it your all. Um, and then deciding to sell the house. I don't know what happened that day in Swish LA. Um, when you said, "Hey, let's just sell the house." I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea. You know, and like we were looking for rentals sitting there. We didn't even called Kathleen yet, who was our real estate agent. We'll use every time. Um, but that put a bit of a fire in my butt, and not like a Taco Bell fire in my butt, but like a good kick in the butt to get moving. And I painted for like 5 weeks straight. I like painting, but when I do it for 5 weeks straight, I get a little tired of it.
I want to give you credence here because 2019, from my perspective for you,
All right.
right? So you started the journey into Jeff's emotions in 2019.
Right.
Before you didn't access them or understand them or acknowledge them or share them.
I think the even the drinking had a good thing to do with that because it kind of suppressed everything and kind of like it pushed feelings away, right? You could
Mm-hmm.
kind of bury them under it.
You have shifted into motivation as opposed to hermiting.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of an introvert. I could totally not leave the house for days.
You still have triggers, but as everybody knows, to me, success is how quickly we get affected by something and move all the way through the emotion and get back to a place of like, whew, okay, I feel like I can do this now. And I'll give the example of deciding to sell this house, not sell the
Well,
house.
just
Yeah,
move. Yeah.
not rent this one anymore. Within, 2.5 months, we're talking about moving into another house. And the fear and all of the emotions that you normally feel, you felt them, and you felt them hard and fast,
Oh yeah.
which is great because I would rather you feel hard and fast. And then you worked yourself through, and it what would have taken you months only took a couple days.
The first few houses we saw didn't make me feel good about the decision to not to move. It really didn't. And then we started seeing some ones that would work for our family, and that helped a lot. So I could see like a light at the end of the tunnel, like a good outcome, and everything will work out. So
And what did
that
you
helped.
another thing that you did, which you would never have done. So we were driving home from Portland, Maine, when Jeff was in Rockstar Camp, which we haven't even gotten into, which you took an 8-week program, right?
Yeah.
So you've been watching me run programs and take programs and do all this for since 2016. And so you finally, invested in your own. And what was your experience?
Oh, it was a great thing. Um, it was ballsy. It was fun. It was. I learned a lot of things about myself. Um, and it gave me quite a good shot of confidence too, which is always good.
Yes, confidence is always good. And one of the things that Jeff and I do when we go on long road trips together is we listen to a bunch of podcasts and we listen to a bunch of YouTube videos, and we like spend 8 to 10 hours like ingesting information, which may seem like strange coupley things, but it's kind of our jam.
Well,
And
it is in that, our musical tastes aren't real similar. So finding common ground there is also difficult.
but even still, I'd still want to do this.
Yeah, it's good. It is. It actually makes the trip go faster.
And on the way back, I had been given the instruction to watch some David Data videos when he is a romance and couple person. And if you have ever heard, now I'm going to go from David Data, because first of all, it's episode 69. I'm going to talk about sex now. Finally, you're probably all listening going like, what is happening? It's episode 69 and they haven't even said sex yet. So I am going to talk about sex in the sense that if you want to know your sexual orientation, there is something called Jaya, Jaiya. If you go to her website, she has a what is your sexual blueprint quiz, and you can find out if you are one of 5 different sexual dominant sexual beings. Now, Jeff and I had a rocky start in the beginning with our sex. Is our child up, so you can't really talk about the sex now, or are we good?
No, they went back to their room.
Okay. So it was rocky because, there was a miscommunication in the sense that Jeff was always just wanting to have sex, but just sex, right? And I would be like, okay, but I need, like, I would say at the beginning, like, oh, I love lingerie. And Jeff would say, why even bother? Because I'm just going to take it off. And I'd be like, well, it's not about you. It makes me feel good, right? But I stopped wearing lingerie. And then it got into, like, I want to play a game. And you'd be like, 2 turns in, you'd be like, wow. And I'd be like, but that's not playing a game. That's attacking the other participant.
I'm a little eager sometimes.
Right? And there would be, like, this level of like, I want to light candles, and you're like, why? And like, there was, you know what I mean? There was a miscommunication. And so it felt like my needs weren't being met. It felt like your needs weren't being met. And so we took this Jaya quiz to find out, and we found out that Jeff is asexual and I am a sensual. So asexual is somebody who just sees a naked body and is all in. Like, that's all I need, just nudity, good, right? And a sensual is somebody who needs the romance, right? So the candles, the lingerie, the games, the wooing, the gentleness, the kind words, the experience, like woo me into opening my legs, more or less, is really what it comes down to. Now, what's interesting about this is that we didn't understand it for a long time, and we were under a lot of stress, and our sex life suffered immensely. So we were listening to this David Data guy, which came across, and on the 12th episode of this 12-episode series, driving back from Portland, Maine last month, there was this couple, and he said, okay, and it hit us both like it was an instant vibrational match. And it was like, so in order to create this love language between you two, because she felt she wasn't being heard or represented, he was like, what would it feel like if your husband, for 15 minutes, what did he say, honey? What did you have to do? Opened you like a flower.
That was the words. Yeah, open you like a flower. But you had to like either talk or, do something that they would like for 15 minutes, right?
Yes.
Basically.
Non-sexual.
And not like, non-sexual. It's not like, a massage, or you have to like do something that's, it is sexual, but it doesn't necessarily have to be sexual.
It doesn't have to be sexual at all, P.S.
Yeah, no, but
like a flower does not mean sexual. See?
Okay.
Right? We've been working on this, ladies and gentlemen of the listeners. But I wanted to get to a really powerful thing that happened. So we had this thing sidebar, my Fitbit went off from moving my hands. Is that it was always like,
about that every
steps
day.
in me.
I know, we do it every day. I'm like, how many steps do you have? She's like she has like way more than me, and I'm like running around the house and do this. Like, how do you have more steps than I do? It doesn't make any sense.
I get excited and my heart rate goes up and I get like warm when I'm doing these. So when Jeff spends 15 minutes opening me up like a flower, then for 15 minutes, I give him oral sex. That was the bargain of this David data. So the other day, and I think this was the game changer, Jeff, and I don't think you realize it, is that, in order for Jeff to open me up like a flower, the game was, let's talk about everything that we want in our future house. I melted. That's the kind of like love language for me.
I did a good one on that one. Bravo.
It was great. Yeah, he is applauding himself.
Yay.
So we sat in bed and we took turns saying what we wanted out of this new apartment or this new house that we wanted to rent. And
we did.
Legitimately, we received that exact house.
It was pretty close. There wasn't much missing. It was really close.
I think it was exactly.
You wanted did you say that you wanted an island?
I said it wasn't important.
Okay.
Because nothing was going to match what we have in this one. So I didn't want to,
right.
But we still got a peninsula. I can still use the bar stools, right? Like there was so much exactly put together. So like this hits multiple different things for me. It hits the level of, I am a visionary and a dreamer by nature, and setting intentions to the universe is like what I do with my clients. It's what I do with myself. And so being in a space where Jeff and I were doing it together in our marriage was like, it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like my dream come true, Prince Charming kind of romantic movie kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's what it was. Sort of. For you, it worked. It wasn't me riding in on a horse or anything like that. I don't even know what I would ride on a horse with. I would just wearing the chaps. I don't even know.
Well, this is so like, you know what I mean? So like we are actively working in our sex life right now to make it cohesive and work for both of us, right? And it is hella uncomfortable for you, is it not?
Oh yeah. Crazy. I don't even know what to do. You say like, okay, it's your turn. I'm like, it's like panic. I don't know what to say at all.
Because what do you want to do?
Jump you.
Right. So from the sexual perspective, from the Jaya blueprint, that is how you work, right? And so, by the way, there's 3 other ones, guys. There's energetic, there's kinky, and there's shapeshifter. And I'm not going to answer you what those are because you're going to want, I'll put the quiz up in the show notes so you can go and take it. I tell everybody about this and everybody takes it. And to tell you the truth, we have exciting news, because I am on their email list. And one day they were like, hey, do you want to help us support our community and tribe? You can apply to do an hour-long interview. And if you get picked, you can either win a full sexual energy blueprint or tickets to our live event in Colorado in October. And I was like, cool, I'm going to apply. And I was like, this would be so fun, because I'm a workshop hands-on kind of gal. And so I got picked for the interview. And now Jeff and I are going to a 3-day live sex event in October, in the month of my birthday, just after my birthday. How do you feel about that, Jeff?
I'm actually really looking forward to it. It's going to be fun, and I'm hoping to learn something from it to help us, right? Is what I want.
Because romance to you is hard.
Oh yeah.
Can I read your poem that you gave me? This is Jeff's idea of romance, everybody. So the other day we get in bed and he's like, "Don't you want to put your pajamas on?" I'm like, not really, because they were tucked between my 2 pillows so you can't see them when I'm on like lying in bed. He's like, I think you do want to put your pajamas on. I'm like, well, now I'm not putting my pajamas on, because now he's like, it was like, you know. So finally, as we're going to bed, I lift up the pillow, and on top of my pajamas is a poem. And I forget what you call a poem where your name, like the letter of your name, each letter is part of the poem. So it says, how much do I love Tamara? Let me count the ways. T is for total babe. A is for a big hug. M is for making me laugh. A is for the air that comes out of her sexy bum sometimes.
You There's a lot of A's in your name.
I'll give you some A things. R is for realizing her dream and making it happen. A is for all the kisses I love she gives me. Jeff loves to talk about my farts, you guys, all the time. Like that's a thing. In our wedding vows that we did, he talked about my farting.
That's romance to me.
But it was cute, and I still have it, just to put it into, and it was close hand. I could just reach over and grab it. Just to give you a little heads up, I still liked getting a poem, even though I'm like, A is for the air that comes out your sexy bum. Yes. Okay. A is for adorable and amazing and all-consuming and anchoring and all the amazing A words. But I'm also a writer.
Yeah, I'm thinking alpaca.
So going back,
Alabama.
Yes, the alpaca is in Alabama.
Yeah, it is.
Going back to when we defined out this perfect house. So the funny thing is like one of the greatest things that I think that the evolution of us has created is that we know that as a couple now, and this has been the challenge, is that we make decisions based on what our needs are, not on what other people are going to think about the decisions that we make. And would you agree to that?
Yeah, because they're not us. So
right, but there was a time where we were making decisions outside of that. Like we were worried about like, oh, what would our parents say? Or what would this person say? Or what would that person say? And you know what I mean? Like we had to really get into like a couple huddle and be like, the decisions that we were making are for our family. Like we have 4 kids together. And yeah, that's a whole chaotic experience in itself. But I'm not going to get into that one today.
No, let's not get into that today.
No, because it's theirs. They haven't given me permission to talk about it yet. But as soon as they do, then that's going to be fair game. Anyway, so, you know, when we moved into this house and realized shortly after that I, as an energy worker, don't like having my office in the bedroom because we already have a little bit of, you know, resistance in our sexual preferences and we're working through our sexy stuff. And then I'm lying in bed and I see my desk directly across from the bed and I don't find it sexy in any way because it's like, there's work. There's work. You know what I mean?
I know. I even suggested that we turn the bed 180 degrees so we looked at the wall on the opposite end, and he said that would be really weird. That would be even weirder.
Totally would look weirder.
We have to do things for ourselves, not for other people.
Right. And so like here I'm working in the bedroom. Right now I'm staring at the bed. And where are you, Jeff?
I am sitting at the dining room table.
So our main kitchen table. So we are like taking over the house. And so when we made the decision to move, and we are literally moving 4 months to the day after we got this house. So we will have only been in this house for 4 months. They didn't make us sign a lease. So that's also a thing. Yeah. We're moving because we are getting our own separate office spaces.
Yes. That's pretty exciting. It was one of the requirements on our dream day.
That's right. That was like when we were defining out our perfect house, it was, we both had a space that we felt really excited to go in to do work in.
Yeah.
And then we had really funny things, in case anybody wants to know. Like, we went to Tulum, Mexico last September, and in our room was a couch. And Jeff started all of a sudden saying things like, "Ooh, I really like having a bedroom that has a couch in it." Like,
I did. I'd never had that before.
right, this couch in the bedroom thing. And then went to Scotland on the pilgrimage, and we had a couch in our first hotel, like in our Airbnb. And you're like, "Oh, look, I really, really like having a couch in the bedroom now." So like that became like a wish list. We wanted a big enough bedroom that we could put a reading area in. And so this house has it. I've never, oh my God, I'm so excited, you guys, I'm going to share this. I've never in my life, and I'm 41 years old, had an ensuite. Shut the back door. We don't only have an ensuite, we have like a beautiful like corner tub that is exceptional, because I'm in a half tub, what I call the Hobbit tub in this
I don't even fit.
Yeah, you don't even fit. It doesn't even come up halfway. It's a Hobbit tub. So like that, now we have this like ensuite and walk-in closet, and you know, like it's like, even yesterday on a walk, because one of the greatest things in energy is, you know, to project yourself into a future self and then bring that future self into the present. So live into that expanded self today, not when this happens, then I'll be that person. No, we're that person today in this moment. And so I was going through a little discomfort even yesterday on our walk, when I was like, I get really excited and maybe I creep the photos of the house, because we don't move till September 15th, on at least once or twice a day. Yesterday we drove by the house twice. Like I am creepy. I am creepy, you guys. But to me, in my anxiety, I need to know where the furniture is going to go. I need to know where I'm going to place the things. Like it helps me calm down. And so like yesterday when we were walking, I was like, oh my God, the house is so nice. And I've never even had a house within that I know in my family that's had an ensuite. And so to become the Tamara who has a house with an ensuite, right, was like expansion that I had never experienced before. And even in that moment, I was leaning into that future and bringing her in and saying, of course you have an ensuite. Of course that's your reality. I just want to like, when I do, because I'm curious now, when I'm in that state where I'm doing all those kinds of things, what goes through your head?
Sometimes I'm like, slow the fuck down. Because we don't even have to pack for another month. So I'm like, for this one in particular, where's everything going to go? I'm not even there. I'm really not. There's too many other things to happen before that I'm not worried about.
This is why we actually make a good couple. Because I was joking about you and Ethan, and that when left alone, you guys never figure out the finish. Like, because you're like, okay, next, okay, next, okay, next. And then when it comes time to actually, what was the outcome? What was the objective again?
What was the goal here?
What was the goal?
We did a lot of stuff.
Like even when Ethan got his license, and nobody had researched what he actually needed to do in the test. So they were driving a lot, but just kind of winging what Ethan would need to know, not actually knowing what Ethan would need to know.
Well, the first start, I did have a goal at the start. I wasn't worried about all of everything. I just wanted to be comfortable behind the wheel of the car, you know, and observe basic road signs and speeds and things like that. Stop at a stop sign and, you know, that kind of stuff.
But it was funny. So I'm always the future. I'm always the like outcome. What is the result of what we're doing? What do we like? This is why also I'm a coach, because this is how I see the world. Reverse engineer from the future and then put all the things in place to make it happen. And you come at it from one direction, and I'm already at this, the final destination, and coming at you in the opposite direction.
Right. I did think about booking a U-Haul truck though. So it's something. Yay
That,
me. I haven't done it, but I thought about it. So
that's the first phase of completion, the thinking of it.
yeah, because
Um,
it's the 15th, so it might be a very busy day for trucks.
I think it's something that can be done. You can do it online too, can't you?
Yeah, that's what we did last time.
Yeah. So when it comes to marriage, what is your advice for people?
Communicate a lot, like more than
He actually froze because I think that that was a big thing. I think he threw a freezer bomb at the screen.
I do. Yeah, I'm getting your internet connection is
Yeah,
unstable.
I was like, wow, I get to keep talking and be like, oh my God, he froze there because he was like, communicate, and he like broke his webcam. Can you repeat yourself? Communicate like a lot and then finish the statement.
I said communicate a lot, like way more than I do.
That's a good
And
one, hun. It's
it
my
is.
favorite thing
And
to do.
I know. And be a good listener. But, actually listen. Don't just like in one ear out the other listening.
Yeah.
Yes, I know you're giving me the eyes that I'm prone
What
to.
did we talk about today on our walk?
Oh, I don't want to get into it.
I'm just kidding. Because that's the one thing I'm always like, Jeff, do you actually hear me? Because I talk a lot. Like, it's a lot to ask to remember everything I say because I don't.
It's a lot of words sometimes.
I'm
I do love you. I do love that you talk a lot.
always excited most of the time. And then sometimes I just need like a morning, like once a month, where I'm just like, I hate the world and everybody in it. And I'm going to like blow up the earth. But that only happens very rarely. All right. So, what is I think communicate is up there. I think that that is huge because most of the time, um, we don't actually know what each other is thinking. That's a lie. You always know what
That
I'm thinking.
you always know what I'm thinking. Try being a husband of an energy reader.
Oh, that's right. That's true. I know when your words and your body don't match.
Yeah. Or when I thought briefly about throwing your purse in the water.
Yeah, we were walking by a bridge and like there was water, and I looked at him and I was like, "You're thinking about throwing my purse in the water, aren't you?" He's like, "How did you know that?" I'm like, "'Cause I read that in your energy." What was I just about to say? It was really, really good. However, one of our latest things that we're working on is the fact that you say after an event, "Yeah, I didn't think that was a good idea at the time," and we did, and we ended up,
Oh.
and I'm like, "Why didn't you
Yeah.
say that then?"
Yeah, that came out when we were house hunting.
Like you didn't think the house that we moved into was the right house.
It
Or
wasn't that strong. It was kind of like I was actually really hoping that um, either A, we could use the garage or B, the basement to do
it
for
still
some
wasn't
extra space.
sublime. It
But
still was mediocre with all of that. But I
yeah,
think this falls into communication. Like be willing to actually, when you're unsure of what the other person is thinking, we need to ask. We need to use our voices in marriage. We need to share what we're actually thinking and feeling and not try and guess what the other person is going on in their head, because that's where the stories are created, and then that's where the actions that don't correspond with what's really happening start to
and some resentment build up maybe.
resentment build up.
Because
And
if like we're always doing what you want to do, and then I'm like, okay, then yeah, it's gonna be a problem. Not that that's what happens with us, but that could.
it's not far off. Don't kid
There
yourself.
are times, yeah.
But I say, hey, do you want to do this? And you say,
Yeah, whatever.
Right. You say yes. So then we do it. And then
Well, if I didn't want to do it, I would say no. Okay,
giving him
fine.
the
Then
eyes
look at
again.
the eyes. Wow. Good thing we're not in the same room. Jeez.
But from the level of communication, the only answer is to speak your truth, right? And do it in a way that is non-confrontational and not harmful to the other person,
Yes.
right? Have love as your, bottom line. And like even when we argue, which isn't a lot, it's
True.
it's usually like it used to be about sex all the time. That was the only thing we've ever argued about people. Not even about money, not even about anything else. It was always sex, which was, of course, the sex was what was taking the brunt of the money fears and the brunt of the lack of communication, the brunt about everything else. It was just like the pool that took all of the other emotions, right? And we've talked about that too, but like really get in and with love say like, I see that you're not yourself. Like we've taken to, thank you, Megan Jo Wilson, for the cleanse that you did with the men in Rockstar Camp. We take to cleansing each other, which is just giving 2 minutes of, I'm not going to take anything you say personally. And you have the freedom to, get everything off your chest or get whatever is inside of you and energetically, emotionally out. And sometimes it might be directed at me. Sometimes it might be directed at Jeff. Sometimes it might be directed at just the world in general. But it really is a powerful way to, because the mouth is the only way that energy leaves the body. So if you're not sharing what you're thinking or feeling or, what you desire, what you want, then it stagnates.
Yes. Quite true.
And then you get sad.
Yeah.
I got sad too. Mm. So this is kind of a fun episode for episode 69. We covered a lot.
Yes, we did.
Anything else you want to talk about or share as we kind of close her down?
I'd like to share that I love you very much.
Oh, I love you very much too. And it felt like a real interview this way. I think we're in two different like rooms of the same house, but it felt like
Yeah, and I had some doubts, but that was all like anxiety, fear stuff. So it wasn't like a don't do this. Bad idea.
abort mission. I
Yeah.
love
Run
her.
away, run away.
And how do you feel now that it's over?
Kind of hungry.
But good.
Oh yeah.
Not anxiety.
No. Not at all.
Jeff is a secret person who loves these because after every podcast episode, it's more like, that was super fun. I'd do it again. But like right before, he's like, oh my God, why did I say that? So it's fun.
Yes. I don't have anything else to add.
All right. Well, gosh, I don't know when we're going to do another episode together. And I can't wait to share our marriage and what it looks like behind the curtains in the future episode. And thank you. Thank you to everybody who listens to the Own Your Intuitive and the ones especially between Jeff and I. And even Jeff right now is in something that I just started this month, which is the Chakra Business Academy for Men. He's upped his game in terms of like really clearing out any of the triggers and energetic blocks and limiting beliefs and glass ceilings that he's had in his energy system his whole life up till now. So if you're
There's
listening,
a lot of them.
so if you're listening to this and your husband is like, oh my goodness, she offers the Chakra Business Academy for Men, I will put the link for the application in the show notes as well. It's really profound. And I've got to say, like the transformations that are happening this month with the men alone in the group are just astounding. Like it's
pretty awesome.
It's like, it's blowing my mind. So I look forward to hearing from you guys and have a great day.
Bye, everyone.